Oh, it's an early one today. Let me tell you. Let me tell you something about early mornings. You stay up until past 3 a.m. to watch the soccer because you're tragic, and then you're up after about an hour or so of sleep to watch a sprint. And I hate sprints, but I am too tragic of a Formula One fan to miss it. I cannot fucking sleep while these things are on. So now I'm here. And that's, I guess, as good of a cold open as we're ever going to get. Hello, welcome to Turn15 channel. My name is Zach Fagans. How are you going? It's bloody early today. It feels a bit like a fever dream. My goodness, they're about to go racing. Look at that, they're on the grid. They're on the grid. There's only a few minutes to go until lights out. How about that? It's always a weird time to do these things. I feel like I'm honest. I was sleeping like 20 minutes ago, honestly. We're off to a weird start, aren't we? Anyway, hello, how are you going? This is Turn15 channel. My name is Zach Fagans, and welcome to the Kota Sprint. It is round, God, what are we up to now? Round 19, I think this is. Fucking crikey, this season's really starting to get long in the tooth, isn't it? Round 19 of 24, Austin, Texas, Circuit of the Americas, Kota, grab your Kota, and let's go see some sprint racing. Should be an interesting-ish one today. Hello, I have company already. Are you wanting to hang out, or you just want to cause some trouble again? Let's see if... and it's very early, so let's see if you will keep the noise down as well, huh? Anyway, here we go. Looks like the intro's about to start, which means we have just a precious few minutes until we get underway. 19 laps today at the sprint race. Verstappen on pole for the first time in a while. That I can remember. I can't even just bring this off the top of my head. I think he's had a couple of poles in the interim since his last win, which is Spain back in June, if you can believe that. He's back on pole again. Great work for Verstappen. Only just on pole as well, by I think it was like 12 thousandths or something like that. So well done, Max. Well done, Max. Russell second, just missing pole position this time. Charles Leclerc third, Lando Norris down in fourth, wasn't really a fan of his own lap. Carlos Sainz in fifth, Hulk sixth, great effort by Hulk. Hamilton seventh, K-Mag in eighth, so it's knocking it out of the park by Haas. Now Hamilton said that he probably could have gotten pole, except Colapinto spun. Colapinto, who was 10th, by the way, so amazing effort still out of Colapinto to drag his Williams into 10th. Tsunoda is 9th as well, so there you go. So a little bit of pace in Lewis Hamilton. Looks like a bit of pace in the Mercedes this weekend. They've got a new bits added to their car. In fact, most of these cars have had quite major upgrades in the few weeks now that it's been since Singapore. Except Ferrari, I don't think that they've brought anything substantial to the car for this weekend, but Mercedes definitely new bits, Red Bull with new bits, McLaren with new bits. They're all fighting for the championship. Mercedes are, well, they're not really fighting for shit right now, but Red Bull and McLaren absolutely in the middle of what is turning into quite an intense title battle. A lot more intense than I thought it would have been. I would have bet the house on Verstappen having a couple of wins at least since June. It hasn't happened, so who knows? Norris and McLaren, they're trying to mount a championship fight in between very bad execution of team orders and a lot of fluffing starts from Lando Norris as well. But, you know, let's see how they go from here. 6 races to make it count, 3 sprints to make it count. It's anus o'clock, so I think it's about arsehole o'clock through the rest of the season, except for Vegas, actually. So this is going to be the fun part of the season for me watching this. Anyway, Checo 11th. He just doesn't make it easy on himself, does he? Checo 11th, Gasly 12th, Stroll 13th, Alonso 14th, Lawson 15th, Piastri 16th. So bad qualifying out of Piastri. I think he got caught out by a yellow flag on his fast lap, and it just kind of fucked it. Not a lot of time to get laps in sprint qualifying. Ocon 17th, Bottas 18th, Joe Guan Yu is 19th, and Albon looks like he's starting from the pits. Everybody looks like they're on medium tyres to get the race started. The cars are still on the grid. Tyre warmers are about to come off though, so we should be getting underway very, very soon. This is a bit of a weird intro today, but I tell you, I care for sprints. I love Formula One, and I will watch these things race into the sun. But God, I don't know. Maybe the sprint will be okay. Maybe. We've had 3 sprints already this year, 3 Max Verstappen wins, and I tell you, every single sprint has been total ass compared to the Grand Prix that followed it the next day. As Max Verstappen takes off, green light, here we go. So if you're following along from home, that's your cue. Max Verstappen's just entering turn 1 right now. Warm-up lap, of course, warm-up lap. I feel like I don't even really need to rush the news because after the first few laps of a sprint, it usually calms right the fuck down with zero strategy, and we just sort of poodle around to the end. Looks like there's no tyre variation, so today is all about who can work the tyres the best then. Just surprising that nobody's gone for a hard or... nobody's maybe trying their luck on a softs or some shit. Like, everybody's going medium, so it's all just down to pure car pace now. A couple of things of note since Singapore. It's a very long lap as well, actually, so it's going to be a very long formation lap. As I think I can hear one of my cats trying to cause a disaster downstairs. Yes, Red Bull in a lot of controversy right now. There's gossip all up and down the paddock that the FIA is suspecting. Well, McLaren definitely are suspecting them, and some teams are suspecting them of using a little bit of ride height trickery between qualifying and the race. Basically, you can make a couple of adjustments to the car after qualifying into the race. You know, things like maybe changing damaged parts and things like that. Depending on what you change, you might have to start from the pit lane like Albon is doing today. So, you know, major things like engine, gearbox and things like that, you'll get penalties and stuff like that, but it's generally okay to change. However, what they don't allow you really to change is major setup things outside of it being a wet race. And what's being alleged basically is that Red Bull are using a device in their car to change the ride height of the front, like they call it a bib, a T-tray. You know, it's a little bit that juts out from the floor, like where the nose starts to rise under the cockpit, which really could, if it's true, then you're not really allowed to do that. The FIA otherwise is clamping down on it. They're saying it's the whole thing of like nobody can prove that it's happened yet. Nothing to concern us on the data. Little bit of Hamilton radio there, so looks like he's all right. Anyway, the TLDR is Red Bull are being accused of a bit of trickery. They're not really denying it, but the FIA is kind of clamping down on it, so we'll see what happens there. And the other sad bit of news, heartbreaking news, Liam Lawson is in for Ricciardo. Turns out Daniel Ricciardo is gone. Singapore was his swan song after all. And I was saying over the Singapore broadcast that it really felt different this time, the whole like replacement talk and things like that. It's I'll get into that a little bit more later because I think Red Bull have done the poor lad a bit dirty, but end of the day, Daniel Ricciardo is not here. Liam Lawson is in the seat, and Checo really needs to start worrying about a seat now. And look at that, Pato O'Ward in the pits. How about that? IndyCar. Well, he's not a champion yet, but he sure is a champion of our hearts. Second in the Indy 500 this year. He's had a couple of seconds at the Indy 500. Real good driver. Love that kid. I think he's really talented. Green flag. Here we go. 1 light, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. Great start out of Verstappen. Looks like an okay start behind him by Russell, Leclerc, Sainz, and that McLaren of Norris. Norris looks like he might be up to second here. Oh, they're wheel to wheel through the S's. Norris is going to get ahead. Wow, that's an amazing start out of Lando Norris. That's exactly what he needed. Fourth to second. Bam. Looks like an Aston Martin's gone wide there as well. Wow, that is a great fucking start out of Lando Norris. Well done, lad. Well done. That's exactly what he needed. That's pretty much what he hasn't been doing all season. That is fantastic. Oh, Tsunoda getting really close with the Haas there in the hairpin. Oh, Tsunoda pulling out again. Actually, one quick thing about Tsunoda. Honda apparently want him in a Red Bull test, so we'll follow that. Oh, Charles Leclerc on the inside of George Russell at the bottom of the hill. Oh, Russell's trying to come back at him here. It's a little bit side by side. Oh, nah, George is going to hold on. Look at Sainz right up here. Trying to do the Max system. Move in after Charles passes. And look at Verstappen and Norris starting to gap them now. They are starting to break away. It's like a MotoGP race here. God, those Ferraris are close, aren't they? Goodness me. Okay, so lap 1 done. Lap 1 of 19. Verstappen, Norris, Russell, Leclerc, Sainz, Hamilton, Magnussen, Tsunoda, Hulk, and Perez is up to 10. So good work, Checo. As good a work as 10th in a Red Bull can be, I guess. Colapinto down to 11th. There's Piastri up 2 places to 14th. Lawson holding strong in 15th. Alonso's down 2, so he must have been the Aston Martin that went off at the start. Not a whole lot of shuffling besides that. I tell you what, these sprints can be bloody painful sometimes. So if you've got any hot questions or things you want me to talk about, things you want to hear my opinion of, feel free to just throw it in the chat. Now, the Ferraris are starting to get a little bit racy here. You know, fair play to Ferrari. They actually let their guys race each other. After just years and years of that never happening. And here's Sainz trying to spring an attack on Leclerc. Oh, just can't quite get it done. Can't quite get it done. Leclerc comes right back at him. Tsunoda's past Hulkenberg as well. Tell you what, Hulkenberg's had a rubbish start from, what was it, 6th to 9th. Awful. Oh, Ferrari getting really close again into turn 1. It's just not quite working out, is it? Sainz is doing a dive bomb, and Leclerc can always get him on the corner exit because he's got a better speed. I get the feeling Sainz isn't that worried about whatever the team wants out of him in terms of holding station and, you know, bringing home points and stuff like that because, well, they've given him the flick, so Sainz is probably going to give them the big old flip off. Now, race control Magnussen incident, leaving the track and gaining an advantage noted. Well, he is up to 7th. So we'll have to see a replay of that, see what the stewards think. Oh, Sainz. Oh, having another look again at the bottom of the hill. It's not quite, doesn't quite have the speed to get it done there. Leclerc saying we've got to try to come back on the others if possible. Now that is code for tell Sainz to stop trying to fucking pass me. I think he feels that he can get up up to and perhaps past George Russell, as long as he's not having to drive at his mirrors the whole time because of Carlos. So polite team orders, I think we'd say. Coded team orders, that one. And I tell you, they are catching up a little bit to George Russell here. Now, replay of the start. Norris nailed it. Look at that. Norris nailed it. Looks like Hulk just missed the start. Yeah, and he's been swamped into turn one. That's a great pass out of Lando Norris. Absolutely what he needed to do. Brave holding it on the outside there. And then just the track comes back to him and he gets the inside line and can make it work. So well done, Lando. That's a rubbish start out of George Russell. Oh, live back on track. Looks like Carlos is still trying to get past Charles Leclerc. Has, at the bottom of the hill, locked up, gone wide. Leclerc's just got him back. It's a carbon copy what happened a couple years ago. A couple laps ago. Couple years ago, Russell was turning Sainz around in turn one, if I remember correctly. You know, nothing's quite as brutal as waking up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever it is, to watch F1 racing, and then one of your lads gets absolutely smacked and dabbed on. Remember a few years in a row, there was Daniel Ricciardo was what? I think out on lap 1, lap 2, lap 3 this year. Like, didn't really make it past the first few laps. Just constantly the car was braking. Here, Brazil, it was, I think Mexico City as well. When was that? 2018, I think, when he had pole at Mexico and the car basically failed from the warm-up lap. Oh, dire times. Kind of sums up being a Ricciardo fan, to be honest. It's a shame that we won't see him. I get the feeling this is the end, and he has been mostly just hanging out with his buddies, from what people have seen in the last few weeks, wearing a shirt, wearing a hat actually that iterates he's retired. That is a replay of Checo absolutely fucking up the bottom of the hill hairpin and almost clattering into Tsunoda. What are you fucking doing, buddy? Now, the Ferraris are still going at it here, so Sainz is absolutely not feeling that coded team orders whatsoever. Oh, Sainz is going for another pass here. This is, they're very, very, very close. Sainz is going to make it. That's an amazing pass. Carlos is really trying to send a message here, I think. So, fucking A. Carlos Sainz around the final corner to start his 6th lap of the race, and he is through. He is ahead of Charles Leclerc. Now, what is Leclerc going to do about this? Can he do anything about this? Does he really want to do anything about this? Well, he's looking into turn 1. He looks like he's got a lot of speed, but tell you, those Ferraris actually look really evenly matched. It's great. I mean, I don't think Sainz is as quick of a driver as Leclerc at all. I think just in pure raw pace terms, I think Leclerc probably is the quickest one on the grid right now, but every now and then Carlos can just really turn it up, really give him something to think about. Sainz radio, let's go and get them, guys. Okay, so Sainz is going to be the one to go after George Russell then. All right, buddy, 14 laps to go. Let's see what you got. Oh, Russell having a look at Lando Norris here. Lando, who's falling over a second behind Max Verstappen, so he hasn't really been able to do anything since his great start. Oh, Russell trying to squeeze something in here. It's going to be hung out to dry around the outside. It's not going to work there. Got this... Like the S's and the last section of this track, it's just filled with corners that just sort of like turn back on themselves, and you get cars that go inside, outside, inside, just holding position. It's a whole lot of fun to watch. All right, Norris radio saying that Verstappen's potentially damaging his rears more than they are. We'll see. Looks like Verstappen's disappearing up the road here, though. 2 seconds now to Lando Norris, who has George Russell half a second behind him, giving him a lot to think about. This is exactly what Max needs. Exactly what he needs. If he can get those Ferraris up, biting on Norris as well, God, that'd just be perfect for him. Drivers' Championship. I mean, that's still a big... It looks like if it finishes the way that it is, and that's only 1 point that Verstappen is going to gain on Norris, but that does look like a big gap, doesn't it? I mean, I'm not... I've been saying the whole time that I think maybe the Drivers' Championship is over, and that maybe it's too big of a gap for Norris to... Oh, looks like Piastri... On board with Piastri getting past an Aston Martin there, so who would that be? Lance Stroll for 12th place. Fuck, that sprint qualifying is really fucked this morning. Anyway, what I was saying... I've been quite cynical, quite pessimistic that we actually do have a driver's title fight this year. I think, what has Verstappen won? 7 of the first 8 or 9 races or something like that. It was such a massive advantage that he had, and the car looked good, and he had such a huge, big bag of points. I just couldn't see Lando consistently getting enough points to beat him, but 6 races to go. That gap isn't nearly as big as it used to be, but it's still quite sizable. I think if Verstappen finishes every race from here, or at least finishes as many races as Lando Norris, I think he'll be safe. I mean, Leclerc in 3rd is... forget about it. That's too far behind. Without absolute disaster happening to Red Bull, I just don't see Leclerc beating him whatsoever. Lando Norris, though, is an interesting one. Because I don't think he's driven as well as Max this year. I think he's made a lot of mistakes. I think Piastri is really giving him something to think about as well. I think he got absolutely bullied at Monza. I think he was beaten in Hungary. You know, the way that all played out as well. I think McLaren, if they were going to be ruthless with getting Lando Norris's title, then they wouldn't have switched their positions. They would have just said, sorry, but tough shit to Oscar. This is a replay of Fernando Alonso getting past an AlphaTauri. So who would that be? That'd have to be Liam Lawson then. Man, the AlphaTauri is such an idiot. Oh, looks like an Alpine has gotten by Alonso there as well and all of that. That'd be Ocon. Ooh, that is a double pass out of Ocon. Now he's got to hold on there? I think he will. Yes, he does. That is a great move. So Piastri Gasly incident forcing another off track under review. Yeah, looks like Piastri's given him quite the dive bomb there. I don't know if that's dirty or just rude driving. I mean, Piastri managed to keep it online. You know, he didn't have to go off track. Gasly kind of had to go off track to avoid getting hit, but, you know, that's kind of what getting overtaken is part of that. Anyway, lap 9. Shit, we're almost halfway through. Verstappen, Norris, Russell, Sainz, Leclerc, Hamilton, Magnussen, Hulk, Tsunoda, Perez is your top 10. So Checo really better start making some moves here. He's half a second behind Tsunoda. Surely he's not going to stay there much longer. And I tell you what, Lawson replacing Ricciardo, to me, or Carlos Sainz and George Russell going side by side here. Tell you, there's been a lot of action so far today, hasn't there? I think this track might be soulless, but it's got some great fucking corners on there. The wheel-to-wheel racing that it encourages is actually quite good. And and I've said this is the biggest thing when it comes to sprints and being interesting and shit. It's all about the track. Which to me just means that F1 needs to nail track design anywhere that it goes, really. Because there's a reason that Interlagos, for example, always produces banging racing. It's just, it's made for it. Some tracks that they go to, like Singapore last time, are not made for banging racing. They're made for fucking tedious, horrible, quote-unquote enjoyment. You really need Carlos Sainz working magic to make Singapore interesting. So shit, George back to 4th place, and looks like he's sticking there too. We'll see if he's got anything to come back at Carlos Sainz, but I don't see it. Carlos Sainz is now 2.5 seconds behind Norris, running in 3rd. Norris 1.1 seconds behind Verstappen, so he is coming back a little bit. He's coming back at him. Oh. But if you're Max, you know, 2nd place today isn't even the end of the world. Oh, Russell, front left is toast, he says on the radio. Looks like Charles Leclerc is trying to get by him as well, and there he goes. So, front left is toast after 10 laps. That's not great. Gotta wonder if maybe it would have been better for George Russell to start on the hards here. Now, how is everybody else going to be doing here? Verstappen's just put half a second on Norris as well, a roundabout. Oh, actually, another quick bit of news as well. Fastest lap point is out as of next year, so I don't feel anything about that, to be honest. I'm not sorry to see it go, and I'm not desperate to see it stay. Just one of those things that I don't think ever really did much for the sport, to be honest. There's a bit of mild enjoyment, a bit of mild interest, rather, with some teams doing fuckery, messing with the fastest lap like we saw last time out in Singapore. But apart from that, it's just sort of like, meh. Piastri penalty, wow, for that. Which is interesting because the Ferrari's been passing George Russell by doing a very similar move, you know, like just forcing the other guy off the track and then barging by. Yeah, I can see where they're coming from, though. I mean, Gasly really... It was a proper dive bomb, and he really did have to get out of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old school. I don't think I would have penalized it. I think I would have just said, tough shit, keep racing. You know? You win some, you lose some, but if Gasly wants to find Piastri later and give him a smack upside the head, maybe polices it that way. You know, NASCAR rules and all of that. Fuck it, we're in Austin. We should totally be racing like NASCAR does. I think they'd have to install a Burger King drive-thru to make that happen, though. So here's a replay of Sainz going by George Russell. He's kind of making the same move. I mean, it's not quite a dive bomb, but he is basically forcing him off. But again, I don't see a problem with this. Yeah, awesome move, let's go, says the radio. It's good stuff. I don't know. It's very early. What can I say? Maybe I'll see a replay of that Piastri thing again, and I'll change my opinion, and I'll say, yeah, it was a dick move. But I don't know. Didn't seem that bad from where I was. McLaren running a chrome livery this weekend as well, which is a nod back to their mid to late 2000s liveries. Now that's Perez getting by Tsunoda, so he's finally done it. That's a couple of laps later than I thought he might have gotten it done. Oh, mate, you are very, very, very warm. Ooh, Tsunoda going back at him. Tsunoda going back at Checo. Oh, that's very, very, very close there. Between the Red Bull and its sister team. I did mention just before that Honda is exploring the possibility of Tsunoda getting a Red Bull, at least a test drive, just to really like show them, like just to force them what potentially he could do in that seat. Oh, and he's fucked that up into turn one. Tsunoda locking up, going wide. I think trying to attempt the crisscross back on him. It's a shame that. It's a shame that. Now, Honda can want it all they want, but I really don't think they're going to get what they want. I'm not sure I see Tsunoda and Red Bull's future plans, and I don't think they see them either. Now, here is another replay, so just what I wanted. Oscar Piastri. Oh, this is Colapinto, rather. Easy as you like, that one. So Colapinto gave a little bit of a jink, but nothing dirty there. Mildly defensive. Oh, now has Tsunoda seen Piastri there? Oh, that was almost a collision. Oh, jeez. Oh, Piastri and Tsunoda getting very, very, very close here now. This is the kind of stuff that would make Red Bull sit up and take notice what he can do here. Now, I cannot see that McLaren spending much time behind Tsunoda here, so we'll see what Yuki can do. Oh, I think Piastri's going to get him here into turn 1, lap 14. He's gone wide. Tsunoda's gone defensive on the inside. He should be able to cut back across the apex. Piastri's still got the outside line here. He's going to get squeezed. Oh, that's a very good... That's actually pretty decent defense by Yuki Tsunoda just there. Actually, what is interesting is it's very mixed signals here. Tsunoda, give back the position to Piastri. Okay, so they think that the team think that Tsunoda passed Piastri while he was off the track. It doesn't look like he wants to give it back. They're fighting into the hairpin at the bottom of the hill. At the end of the back straight. Tsunoda definitely doesn't look like he wants to give him back the position. I think he might just hold it. It's quite NASCAR in spirit. Hold your position and just let the stewards figure it out at the end. He's really inviting Colapinto in here as well. Yeah, and Yuki's defending himself. He's saying, he forced me off. God, very spicy. It's getting very red hot in that Visa Cash App RB seat. It's a shame it's for fucking 10th place and there's no points on offer today. Meanwhile, Checo's disappeared 3 seconds up the road from Tsunoda, so it's worked. You know, I mean, where is Checo? 5 seconds behind the Haas. Fucking hell, Checo, jeez. You know, it's bad. I think it's bad news. As I readjust, it's bad news for Perez that Liam Lawson is in that RB seat. I think it shows more than anything, because Red Bull's young drivers that they have in mind now. Lawson is a young driver, yes, okay. Tsunoda, I think, is going to start getting phased out of that team. He's there next year. I wouldn't expect him back for 26. I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know if Honda can maybe work some magic, because Piastri's really having a look at him. Oh. But I don't see Yuki Tsunoda in Red Bull's long-term plans, and who knows what will happen, because that driver program is an absolute fucking mess right now. It is just... The way Ricciardo was let go, the way that all unfolded and all of that, like it's a real mess. It's a gigantic fucking mess. I think Old Man Matashits is sorely missed here. Um, God, that's a big crowd today. Goodness me, just look at that hill. Piastri having a look inside. Yuki Tsunoda at the top of the hill, just like his dentist. Open wide Yuki and say ah. And Yuki has been passed. Piastri up to 10th. Now, I couldn't imagine that RB has any pace to come back at a McLaren. Now that it's got some free air. It's got a lot of free air as well, because Perez is now 5 seconds up the road. So, lap 16, there's 3.5 laps to go. Verstappen, Norris, Sainz. Leclerc is right behind Carlos. Then Russell, Hamilton, Magnussen, Hulkenberg. That's your point scorers right now. As it runs. And for what it's worth, Leclerc has the fastest lap, but I don't think that means a whole lot in a sprint. Now, what was I saying? Yes, Checo, I think, is in a lot of danger, actually. The fact that Helmut Marko has said in the past couple of weeks that we'll see who is riding alongside Max next year, because it could be any of our drivers. Now, Checo is a bit different from a Red Bull driver. He's not really a typical one. It's not that he's in the pool. They wouldn't just move him to RB. They would just get rid of him. Or Leclerc trying to have a look around the inside of Sainz into turn 1 and gets a whole lot of opposite lock through the apex there. Dropped to about just around a second behind him. She'll be interesting to see their dynamic. They've only got a few races left to go with each other, and from what I hear, they're not the best of friends, really. I mean, that's Carlos Sainz for you. He's all business. I think his old man would have taught him that. But the Helmut Marko was saying we'll see who drives alongside Max next year after giving Checo a 2-year extension. I mean, the fact that RB are putting Lawson in the car now. Well, it's not even RB. RB doesn't really have a choice who they run. Laurent Mackey's the boss of RB. He wanted to keep Ricciardo. It was his intention to keep Ricciardo. It wasn't his idea to get rid of him. But Russell radio goes without saying, but to keep it nice and clean. So Lewis Hamilton has caught right up with him. About 2 laps to go. So again, another partnership that is dissolving in 6 races' time, Lewis and Russell. So we'll see what happens here. It really is going to be a big shuffle of drivers next year, isn't it? But yeah, what it tells me is, like, if Lawson's in that seat, this is a 6-race audition to try to get himself into the Red Bull. Now, it hasn't worked out spectacularly today because he's down there in 16th. However, it is just a sprint. Tell you what, Albon's cooking something up back there because he's 17th, which isn't great, but he did start from the pit lane. Alonso's having another rubbish day, which is a shame. And those Salvers, I mean, at this point, I think Bottas and Joe can't wait to never jump in that car again. I think even if it does mean that's the end of both of their Formula One careers. Yeah, Checo's in a lot of danger. And it's, again, if they don't want him, why sign him again? And also, why sign him for 2 fucking years? It's a total mess. Either way, Lawson is a stopgap. I'm getting the feeling even Isaac Hadjar, should he creep his way into an RB seat next year. Hamilton getting a bit snarky on the radio. Fair enough, he's heated it in the moment. Alright, final lap. Here we fucking go. Wow, that came out of fucking nowhere. It's actually been a very interesting sprint, this one. Oh, Sainz having a look at Norris. Norris is fucked up here. Sainz is through. Turn 1. Out of turn 1. Carlos Sainz gets by. Oh, amazing. Norris. See, this is why I just don't think Max is gonna get caught. Mistakes like this, fuck ups like this, all the good work that he had at the start, all undone right there. Meanwhile, Piastri, fastest lap, just trying to throw his hand up to say, you know what, I'll lead this team next year. Thank you very much. They will be interesting, actually. McLaren will be very, very interesting to watch next year, especially if they are as competitive next year as they are right now. Then that means it should, by rights, be a Norris Piastri title fight with maybe a cameo by Verstappen, Leclerc, maybe Hamilton, etc. And Norris locks up again at the bottom of the hill at the end of the back straight. Nah, those tyres are cooked. The science is absolutely snookered it there. Amazing by Carlos. Absolutely fantastic. This is probably his best ride since Australia. Ooh! Was that a touch between Leclerc and Norris? Norris, I think he's gotten away with that, actually. He's hanging pretty consistently behind Sainz. I don't think he's got a puncture. Either way, Verstappen, around the final corner, wins. Carlos Sainz second. Brilliant second there. Lando Norris, you lucky bastard, in third. Charles Leclerc fourth. A very lucky escape for Norris at the end there. I thought that they'd made contact there. Russell fifth, so he does hang on. Hamilton sixth, 3 seconds behind Russell in the end, so I get the feeling he just gave that one up. K-Mag seventh, Hulkenberg eighth, so K-Mag beating Hulk home. Well done. Checo 9th, Piastri 10th, Tsunoda 11th. There he goes over the line. Colapinto 12th, Stroll, Gasly, Ocon, Lawson. There he goes. Albon, Alonso, and then the two Saubers. And it looks like Joe's actually gotten past Bottas. So good work, Joe Guan Yu. And Verstappen sounds very happy with that. So there we go. That's the sprint. How about that? I can't believe I actually woke up for that, and I can't believe I actually stayed awake. It's like a Monaco race. So here we go. Quick replay. Norris fucking up. Man, right at the end of the race as well. Final lap, and he's just thrown it all away. Lando, buddy. Jesus Christ. So that's Max moving under braking, Leclerc says. So that's what happened when he almost hit him. God, Leclerc just properly driving on ice there. Now, will Ferrari push that as a penalty? I do wonder. So if that is considered moving under braking, that would be 5 seconds, which would drop Norris to 4th. That's if the stewards deem it worthy of investigation and or punishment. So there we go. That's a sprint winner, Max, for the first time. First time I said that since June. I think last time I said that I had a great big bushy beard. I've shaved and grown this one back in the meantime, so that's how long it's been. Science Radio here. Just saying, yeah, that was awesome. I mean, I think Science tomorrow and for the 5 races after that, I think Carlos Sainz's whole deal is, this is what you're missing. So, good work, Carlos Sainz. Fucking fantastic. Probably my driver of the day there. Absolutely fantastic. As they pull up to their makeshift park for May on the front straight. Okay. So that was fun. Short and sweet. Not much strategy to really talk about. As much as I hate on sprints, that was actually quite entertaining. I think I just hate the concept of sprints. I think if they didn't award championship points, maybe I'd find it a bit more palatable. Just don't like that these things could influence a championship one way or another. Either way, it has influenced the championship in that Max now has 2 more points over Norris than he didn't an hour ago. Bad news for Norris. Really, really bad news for Norris. And this kind of shit, like Hungary, like Baku, it's not good for the confidence. And you really, really need that. You need everything firing on all cylinders if you're going to go up against Max Verstappen. and come out on top in a title fight. And it's days like today that just make me think, you know what, maybe this title fight is not on after all. I mean, that gap has shrunk, but it's still pretty big. Max is still ahead. Norris is still finishing behind Max here. Damage limitation is second. Third, nearly fourth on the final lap. It's not catastrophe, but it's also not great. Anyway, I think that's all I got for today. Thank you very much for joining me. It's an early one, this one. A very early one, and I think maybe you can tell. Yeah, I think I've really got nothing else to offer after that. Thank you very much for watching me. I'll be back tomorrow again at Anus o'clock, ready for the actual Grand Prix, and we'll see how that goes, because qualifying's coming up later. I'll probably be asleep for that, but qualifying's coming up, and then we'll see what happens. We'll see if Piastri can do better. We'll see if Hamilton can do a little bit better. I think if both of them start further up, you might have post-race, post-sprint interviews hosted by Gunther Steiner. Fucking, give me a fucking break. Don't need to watch that. All right. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Whoever you are, wherever you may be. No, I'm too tired to think of a rhyme, so that's all you get. Thank you very much. I'll see you later.